Breaking news in the crypto world, Morgan Stanley reveals a massive $270 million investment in Grayscale spot Bitcoin ETF, making them the third largest holder with this major move. Morgan Stanley joins the ranks of top Bitcoin investors, signaling a paradigm shift in global digital asset perception. Stay tuned for more updates, don't forget to subscribe, like and share, and let's start. So we are starting off with, this will be one of the biggest Bitcoin breakouts this year. The target is 108,000, prepare accordingly. New 1.5 trillion Morgan Stanley reveals it has spot Bitcoin ETF exposure in SEC filings. Justin, Morgan Stanley has just disclosed a $270 million investment in Grayscale Bitcoin ETF. There is a huge Bitcoin move coming any moment now. Bitcoin is consolidating near the all-time high, expecting a massive breakout pretty soon. Breaking, the IMF is working on a global shitcoin for total control and surveillance. George Orwell's book 1984 is a fairy tale compared to what's coming. Save yourself and stack Bitcoin for freedom and independence. Decentralization matters more than ever. And just like that, Bitcoin ETF flows in the US are back. And $669 million inflow this week. Recent outflows have basically reversed probably nothing. The Bitcoin is in the middle of the bull cycle and its market cap is growing faster than its realized cap, a trend that typically lasts around 2 years. If this pattern continues, the bull cycle might end by April 2025. 2020 cycle disappointed a lot of people as 100,000 Bitcoin was not reached. Because of that, almost everyone has low expectations for Bitcoin this cycle. That's why I believe it will melt faces like in 2017. Just in, Anthony Scaramucci, founder of Skybridge Capital, speaks on doing the homework on Bitcoin and how skeptics are now embracing Bitcoin for the long term. Do the homework on Bitcoin, because when you do the homework on Bitcoin, you go towards Bitcoin. I know very few people that have done the homework, several hundred hours of understanding the Bitcoin. 100k Bitcoin times 1618, 161,800, coincidentally right where the 1.61 Fibonacci extension target is. The Bitcoin ETF saw a $257 million in inflows yesterday, marking the fourth consecutive day of an inflows. Tides are turning. $34 trillion of US national debt, poof. $215 trillion of unfunded liabilities, poof. Neighborhoods in Iraq, Afghanistan, Palestine, Syria, Yemen, and Libya, poof. Don't be gaslit by these money printing, warmongering psychopaths. Bitcoin and is equals crypto. The only proof is the dust coming from Warren's mouth. Study Bitcoin. Exactly 1 year ago, Tether announces its plan to invest its profits into Bitcoin. Today they hodl 75,354 Bitcoin worth $5 billion and are buying 600 million a quarter. Morgan Stanley reveals 217 million Bitcoin ETF holdings. In their quarterly filing, Morgan Stanley revealed a substantial $217 million allocation to Grayscale's converted spot Bitcoin ETF. This position makes it the third largest holder of GBTC shares. Let's explore more about this news for a Bitcoin ETF. Morgan Stanley's major Bitcoin ETF holdings. This position puts Morgan Stanley behind Susquehanna with holdings of $1.1 billion and Horizon Kinetics with $946 million in GBTC. Additionally, the multinational investment bank disclosed a smaller $2.3 million allocation to ARK Invest spot Bitcoin ETF, ARKB, and placing it among the top 20 holders of ARKB shares. In January, Morgan Stanley's Andrew Pill noted the importance of the US spot Bitcoin ETF launch. He described it as a potential paradigm shift in the global perception and use of digital assets. This disclosure follows previous indications of Morgan Stanley's intentions to explore opportunities in the crypto market. In February, the Morgan Stanley fund stated in a SEC filing that it might gain exposure to spot Bitcoin ETFs. Additionally, reports emerged last month. They suggested the firm outlined risk management requirements for brokers to recommend these ETFs. More about Bitcoin ETFs. In Q1 2024, Stagery 937 financial firms disclosed the holdings in spot Bitcoin ETFs showcasing a remarkable surge in institutional interest and investment in the cryptocurrency market. This figure dwarfs the number of firms invested in gold and ETFs, and was only 95 firms reporting investments in the precious metal during the same period of time. This stark contrast underscores the growing prominence of Bitcoin as an investment asset class and highlights a significant shift in investor sentiment towards digital assets, with traditional financial institutions increasingly recognizing the potential of cryptocurrency in their portfolios. Next up, BlackRock Fidelity lead $257 million Bitcoin ETF surge as analysts predict $74,000 come back. The demand for Bitcoin exposure among the US investors continues to rise, with spot Bitcoin ETFs recording a fourth consecutive day of inflows on May 16th. So, BlackRock's iShares Bitcoin Trust led the surge with a net inflow of $93.7 million, followed by Fidelity's Wise Origin Bitcoin Trust at $67 million. Notably, Grayscale Bitcoin Investment Trust, the world's largest Bitcoin fund, saw a more modest inflow of $4.6 million. The bullish sentiment comes despite warnings from JP Morgan analysts, who in a recent report stated that the Bitcoin upside potential is limited. They cited a slowdown in inflows into US spot Bitcoin ETFs and waning interest in Hong Kong-based spot Bitcoin and Ether ETFs as reasons for their cautious outlook. JP Morgan estimates the current Bitcoin production cost to be between $42,000 and $45,000, potentially capping significant price increases in the short term. Institutional investors remain bullish on Bitcoin. However, the analyst warning seems to be falling on deaf ears among some major institutional players. They point to sizable call options purchases contracts that give the buyer the right but not the obligation to buy Bitcoin at a certain price by a certain date, as evidence of strong institutional demand. So QCP Capital also highlights the recent investment by large asset managers Millennium and Schoenfeld, who allocated approximately 3% and 2% of their assets under management to Bitcoin spot ETFs respectively. So the evolving landscape of digital assets and the role of institutional investments in shaping market trends will be a focal point at the event of the Benzinga Future of Digital Assets on November 19th. Looking at the prices right now, we went up to 67,500. Now, right now, correcting a little bit and dropping lower than 67,000. We are in a consolidation around 65,000, as we could see right there at the start of the day. 66,010, then 67,000. But consolidation didn't continue as we dropped. But we had a drop before on $66,000 level before the rise to 67,000. So we might continue on growing as other cryptocurrencies are growing as well, and trading volume is falling while the price is growing, so we might see 70,000 in the next 2 to 3 days. So that's kind of all the information we got for today's video. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. See you in the next one, and peace.